Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo / Choosing Beggars. We have 6 stories in total for you guys today. The first story is posted by you / Sadas0 with the title of Don't Want the Hoodie I Gave You? Okay, let's break up. This happened my freshman years of high school, and I started to develop a taste for the clothing brand Supreme. My family's not well off, but I would save up over birthday and doing yard work to get these clothing as it was what I liked and kept me out of trouble. At the time, I was dating this girl who called me one morning and it went something like this. Hey, I don't have a coat. Can you bring me hoodie? This was dead winter in Maine and she was wearing just a t-shirt. So I responded with, yeah, I grabbed a hoodie and I had near me, which happened to be a white Nike hoodie, and head off to school. I get to the school hoodie in hand and go and give it to her, and she just looked at me and says, what is this? I responded to her, it's a hoodie you asked for. Then I kid you not, she starts crying, and through sobs, I could make out, I wanted a Supreme hoodie. For some context, my parents are divorced, and I have it set up their 2 hoodies at each house at all times, so I didn't have a Supreme one, as I only own 4 hoodies, 3 Supreme and 1 Nike. I ended up telling her, hey, stop crying, I only had this one available. And then she gets up and pushes me, throwing me the hoodie and shoving me out of the way, which was weird, as she was a little girl and I'm a big absolute unit of fat. Later that day, she texted me asking for the Supreme hoodie, and I'm already being mad, so I just tell her straight up, no, you had your chance, because I was angry. And she then started insulting me, calling me autistic, and I have a mild form of autism. I won't go into it, I just lack empathy. Look up Asperger's if you want to know more. She says, you're only doing this because you're autistic, and that really pissed me off, so I ended the relationship right then and there. Finally, this girl hits me up at the end of the day saying she's sorry and she misses me, and at this point, I'm just so done with her, and I tell her to screw off, as she knew about my disability and used it against me. I also had some other reasons to break up with her, but I won't go into details with personal stuff. TLDR got picky, insulted me, and I ended our relationship. For your information, I'm sorry for how I describe Asperger's by lack of empathy. I mean that I have an issue with social situations and how to deal with them. Asperger's is still a weird thing to me, even though I have it. Oh man, please tell me OP wore his Supreme hoodie in the next day with Thug Life sunglasses walking by his ex-girlfriend. On to the second story written by you / Fast Talking Dame. Just because I bought you a bagel once does not mean I'm your personal bagel, Tramp. I've been in this class in my university for a couple of weeks now, as the semester started a little over a month ago. I've been sitting beside the same girl this whole time, the illustrious CB, who has never really talked to me. One day at our lecture break, I mentioned to my other classmates that I'm going to run over to the coffee shop. CB, I'm starving. I wish I had eaten this morning. Me, oh, I'm going to the coffee shop. Do you want me to grab you something? CB, oh my god, would you? I'm so hungry. Me, no problem. Do you want a muffin or something? CB, I want a multigrain breakfast sandwich with hash brown, please. Me, a sure thing. CB, I don't have any money though, so do you mind taking care of it this time? Me, thinking how what they're ordering costs about $6.5, I'm a little surprised that they don't offer to pay me next week, but I agree as I'm not cheap and I wouldn't mind paying if she genuinely didn't have any money. It should be noted that, as the CB also knows, in order to get a breakfast sandwich, I will have to go to different coffee shop on campus. I only have 10 minutes break, so I literally run across campus and wait in significant line to get CB their bagel. I ran back to class, spilling a lot of my coffee, but doing my best to get back on time. I ended up being about 10 minutes late to class, and I get the disapproving look from my professor. I give CB their sandwich, but all I get is a little smile and no thank you. Next week, it comes to break, and I start bundling up to get my coffee. CB starts mumbling about how she didn't have her breakfast. I tell CB that I will walk with her to the coffee shop if she wants to come. She starts to complain that she doesn't have any money again. I tell CB that sucks, but if she wants to come with me, I'll buy her coffee. She said coffee isn't a meal. Clearly she thinks she isn't a university student, lol. Next week, I come to class with a coffee and muffin for my other classmate. She gives me a toonie and says, Thank you. CB looks over at me, seemingly expecting me to have brought her something. I sort of give CB a shrug, as if to suggest, what do you want from me? The CB bitterly turns back to her computer and says, it must be nice to have something to eat in the morning. My other classmate turns to her and says, it is. TLDR, I once went out of my way to get my classmate some food she never paid me back, and now seems to expect me to get it for her every week. Well, CB is so childish and entitled at the same time. I would have turned her down as soon as I realized the breakfast she wanted wasn't on my way or just too far away. Plus, it cost like 6.5 bucks? Nah. On to the third story shared by u/Hagenlee. CB annoyed I'm not a waitress and demands for free coffee. I worked in a gas station as a teenager for 2 years. I was pretty shy back then and worked with mostly mid-20s guys who were hilarious and great to work with. I loved that job. But obviously, dealing with public, you're gonna get some weird, annoying stories. Especially since people complain at you for the price of the gas. For your information, the 18-year-old girl at the till normally doesn't control the price of petrol, so please stop complaining to her about how expensive it is. It was a small enough station with a decent shop and automatic coffee machine just by the door that actually made pretty good cappuccinos, etc. Normally, there would be at least 2 people working behind the counter. We each got like 15 minutes break during long shifts, but if it got busy, you could ring the bell and let them know you needed help. One day, I was working with one of the lads. He was hilarious. While I would always try to be extra polite to the aggravated, crappy customers, this guy did not care. He took no crap. He had worked there too long. He was also built like a tank, so his attitude was rarely met with much retaliation. He was taking his break in the back, and this older woman around 60s walked in. Old woman, hello, I would like a coffee. Me, oh yes, we have a machine just over there that serves a lots of types of coffee. Just press the button for whatever one you'd like. Smiles. Old woman looking at the machine and gesture at. I looks back at me and scoffs. If I want to make my own coffee, I could do that at home. Stares. Oh well, I'm sorry, but that's the coffee maker we have. It's actually quite nice though, but there aren't really any coffee shops nearby. Silence, still staring. Old woman, so, are you going to make me a coffee or what? Me, confused. Well, I'm not supposed to leave the registers. I have to... Old woman, this is ridiculous. I'm a paying customer and you won't serve me? This is a disgrace. Bear in mind there's nowhere to sit. It's a to-go coffee machine. I was just beyond confused at this point. She storms over to the machine and presses one of the buttons for a coffee. Old woman, since I'm the one doing your job, there's no way I'm paying for this. I'll take my coffee and go. And I'll be telling people about the terrible service here. Now I didn't know, but the tank bro had wandered out from the back and had been listening. He quietly walked between her and the door while the coffee was pouring and folded his muscly arm, looking like a nightclub bouncer. Old woman turns to walk out with a coffee cup. TB, sorry, where the hell do you think you are? Old woman, I'm not paying to make my own coffee. TB, you're in a petrol station. We're not a docking restaurant. Pay for the coffee and get out. Old woman, I'm not paying. TB, then hand it over. She reluctantly hands him the coffee, which he takes a swig from straight away and smile. She storms out. TB to me, screw this job. That was one of my favorite work days. Well, did she really go to the gas station just for coffee? And she knew you had some, but not that it was self-serve? Weirdo. People who demanded free stuff are the worst. On to the fourth story shared by u/Bridezilla33. CB Vulture picking over my dead mom's belongings. So, I unfortunately lost my mom's 4 weeks ago today. Sadly, my mom didn't own her home, nor did she have a lot of money, so while clearing out her place, which she recently decorated on a budget and furnished, I've been listing her belongings on Facebook Marketplace to raise money for her ashes to be interred. CB messaged me on Friday wanting to buy her desktop printer. Fine. However, it was my mom's funeral on Friday, so I didn't read or reply, obviously. He keeps on sending more messages through the day to get me reply. He's keen and not to know I'm at my mom's funeral, so I ignored him. I finally reply on Saturday, and it's 15 pounds for a fairly new 45 pounds Epson printer. He agrees he wants it, and we arranged for him to collect from my mom's today, as I'm here again doing more sorting and cleaning. He texts to say he's on his way and adds 10 pounds, okay? No dude, it's not okay. It's 15 pounds. He arrives and I tell him it's 15. He starts pulling out a face and I'm like, as you can see, this is an old people's accommodation, not my house. I've lost my mom and raising money to bury her. So it's 15 pounds. The software is all there unopened, it's good as new. He very reluctantly pays up and asks what other things I'm selling, so I show him around. Oh, and I almost forgot to add that, when he went to pay me, he pulled out a wad about of 300 pounds of 20 pounds notes, just to add insult to injury. He says he likes beautiful side table and asks how much. I said 20 pounds. He replies, but can I have it for free? I repeat, but sadly not. I'm not raising money to bury my mom, remember? He then starts poking around my mom's belonging and asks, so what is here that I can take for free then? Absolutely nothing, you vulture. Piss off. I didn't say that, as I was of course terribly British, and I apologized that nothing was for free. To be honest, anything that is left will go to deserving local charity, not to a CB. He took his printer and pissed off. Like, but seriously, apologize for having nothing you're selling for free? Some people are just too nice, man. On to the fifth story shared by u/Fat Elvis, Landlord Drama. I'm a landlord, and having living paycheck to paycheck, working 2 jobs most of my 20s and 30s, I finally save enough to invest in some real estate, flip out a couple of properties, and turn my second job into working for myself, and now I'm at 50, I own a few rental units, and am still working a full-time job. I get the working class and what it is like struggling to have a place to live, truck to drive, and food to eat. My mother was single and raised me and my brother, and she struggled too. So as a landlord, I tend to be soft on people, that they were just like me at one time. I rented an apartment to a single mother, SM. At first it was a couple, but the husband left for whatever reason, and it was just her and the baby. She could not pay rent on time because she only got paid like once a month, so I gave a little grace and changed the due date to 7th and never charged her for a late fee as long as she paid by the 15th. She could barely afford food utilities, so I put ceiling fans in the unit to help it keep it cool, and I had an old washer and dryer set from an older unit, and I installed them for her so she could wash her clothes. My wife would also sometimes babysit for her, and we made sure that she had diapers for the baby and food. In another unit was another couple, and the husband worked and she stayed at home. When they had a baby, I sent them a card with a $50 gift certificate and wished them well. I was not prepared for the response. She wanted to renegotiate the rent, wanted a brand new washer and dryer, ceiling fans, and complained that the $50 gift certificate would not even cover diapers and formula for a month. So I just ignored her, but then the rent started being late. After my letters were ignored, I made a courtesy call. She was indignant that I would ask her to pay her rent first when other tenants could pay it on the 15th with no late fees. She was still demanding for washer and dryer, and not old used ones either, and she said I owed her for utilities since I did not furnish them with ceiling fans. Everything I had done for SM in other units, she felt I owed her. Again, I ignored her and sent demand for the rent on time or pay for the late fees. A few months later, I'm on a property, doing my quarterly inspections, changing batteries in smoke detectors and new AC filter stuff, and the SM won't look me in the eye and she does not want me to let me in the unit and is acting very odd. So I call my wife over and we sit down and talk. It takes some efforts, but SM finally told us that she heard from the other neighbors that I have been inappropriate towards her and that I was buttering SM up for other reasons. I was livid, and I calmly explained that the reason I was helping her was that I was raised by a single mother and I was just paying it forward. I also told SM about all the demands that crazy Tramp made with the rent and appliances. SM was shocked. I chose not to renew the lease for the crazy woman. SM stayed for a few more years before meeting someone new, and she moved in with him. I still help the folks that struggle, but I'm very careful not to do too much or it causes rumors and problems. Well, I wish I had a landlord like that back in the days. Really kind and understanding. On to the final story shared by u/Scaffy. Cousin of a friend, Bridezilla. I'm translating from German messages that my friend shared with me. I have her permission, she's on Reddit anyway, regarding her cousin's wedding, which she planned to host like 180 guests. My friend received a formal invitation to her cousin's wedding 5 months prior to the party. The bride mentions a dress code of pastels and attached this gifts you can chip in for the list to it. So far so normal. After her positive RSVP, she received another message from the bride, this time a group chat, to which she posted links for men and women where to buy the pastel-toned dresses and suits. She provided 5 to 7 varieties of suits and dresses, expected people to sort out among them so that it would be a nice mix, not everyone the same. Mind you, the suits went for like 150 euros and the dresses stated like 180 euros. My friend as well as other family members were taken aback by this and they thought it was clearly a nice thing to have. Not a must to turn up in exactly those dresses and discussion began. Bridezilla was not happy and put her foot down. This was her perfect dream wedding, and anyone who tried to ruin it would have to take it up with her personally. So discussion splintered off into private chats. My friend tried to reason with her cousin. As a student, she could barely afford the trip and stay. At a hotel quite out of town, travel, the guests were expected to pay 2 days stay, which is about 300 euros plus travel expenses, but the bride was not having any of it and ignored her messages after a bit. So, we are at 500 euros plus in expenses. My friend and her cousins used to be close, but this behavior, I told her quite frankly it's crap, made her reconsider if she wanted to attend or even could afford to. Meanwhile, the groom got gwine from what was going on among the guests. The mother of the bride wrote a very angry messages into the guest group along the lines of, "How dare you make my baby sad? This is her very special day, and you should all try to make her happy. Just buy the darn clothes. Groom has been sleeping at a friend's place and have been constantly fighting because you guys don't want to commit." I think the groom realized what unreasonable demands she put on the guests and got worried everyone would be angry at them on their special day or something. Other guests were now considering to drop out of the wedding. That was when the bride came back. I don't know what she smokes and sent out other message via letter this time. "Dear guests, despite the recent unrest, groom and I are looking forward to celebrate this special day with you. I must stress that we're already ordered food after your positive RSVP and 90 euros per person if you wish to not attend. We'll be forced to forward a portion of cost for your food to you." That was when people started dropping out. The bride tried to talk to my friend again, trying to guilt her into coming to her wedding. She realized that the clothes was something that she was not able to force from her guests and put into the group message that people could show up however they wanted, but she would love if they tried to adhere to the Bastille theme or just buy the clothes. Then she added that they would be looking forward to the wedding gifts and a monetary donation of at least 300 euros per person. I don't know how you can write this in a classy way. I just saw it came in a print on some very fancy paper. My friend asked her if she was serious and why the "at least" turns out the bride was hoping to finance her dream wedding on the backs of her friends and family and scrape together money for a house of the newlyweds wanted to buy. So we are at 900 euros expenses for someone else's wedding. My friend told her that she was not attending. This was 2 months before the wedding. From what I heard, the number of actually attending guests dwindled from the very close family of about 40 people and a very angry mother of the bride going around harassing and berating other guests who dropped out. A month after the wedding, my friend received another letter in a pretty paper. "Dear cousin, I was sad to hear that you could not attend my wedding. I'm holding a brunch for those who couldn't make it. I'm looking forward for your bridal gift. The address is so and so." This is a story of my friend's Bridezilla cousin. Well, that's insane. I've heard stories about weddings where some unreasonable stuff had happened, but this takes the cake. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. See you guys next time.